Touching upon, what you had said earlier, a lot of people in town don't seem to think much is being done with the drug problem. They still perceive that there's a lot of drug dealing going on, there's a lot of drug usage. What specifically can you point to as some of the achievements and actions taken by the Lincoln Police Department that is making our area basically non-profitable, a non-profitable place to do and use drugs?
Well, I think in the last 11 months there's been more coverage from Lincoln on the drug arrests than any other community in Penobscot County other than the city of Bangor and Brewer. I mean, you look at other communities our size, and I don't believe that there's been any coverage, if non-existent. So it's not that the police department's not active. I mean, I think we just had one of the biggest drug arrests in one of the histories of the town of Lincoln here. They occurred on the Lee Road, where we took $7,000 worth of heroin and cocaine off the streets of Lincoln from a man who was coming up from Connecticut and selling in the Lincoln area on a monthly basis. And this person just got sentenced to 7 years with all but 4 years suspended, along with restitution to the town of Lincoln for the drug testing of $2,100 and a seizure of around $600. So, I mean, that's one of many cases that have been in the news in the last few months. So, I think if people want to compare Lincoln to other communities, Lincoln's been very active in the war on drugs here and will continue. But there again, just because we have doesn't mean that drugs are going to be eliminated, because, as I said, the person who sells drugs are addicted to drugs, and they're just not going to stop because they've been arrested. They're going to continue their behaviors until they seek treatment and help.
Is there treatment and help available?
Yes. And what we do is we order it through the court systems when we make arrests, whether they want it or not. And actually, when we make the arrest, we make that part of the bail conditions. So when we make arrests here in Lincoln, as anywhere else, part of the arrest is we're going to list our bail conditions, and those bail conditions are generally not to possess alcohol or drugs, not to consume alcohol and drugs, or commit any other crimes, and recommend treatment. And when we make that recommendation, we can't order it. That's up to the judge to order it, but we make the recommendation that they receive treatment, because without that component, they're going to get out of the jail, they're going to continue the same behaviors.
Is treatment, in your opinion, something that is generally successful on the long term?
Some cases yes, some cases no. I think that's a case-by-case basis. Obviously, I'm not alcohol drug rehab counselors, but I've personally seen cases where it's worked. A lot of cases where some people have been in rehab several times and still not work. So I think that's an individual basis, but until somebody comes up with a better method, this is what we have.
What would you like the people in our area, the citizens that'll be watching this on the Lincoln area website, what would you like them to remember about our conversation today and to really take to heart?
I think the biggest thing is you got to remember, this is just not a police problem, it's a community problem. We all share in the effects of illegal drug use. There again, drug use is related to property crimes, to burglaries, to thefts. I'm sure everybody in this community has been touched by somebody who has a drug or alcohol problem. So people need to realize that we're all in this together. And if we all share this information, and I want people to realize the Lincoln Police is just not about making the arrests. That's what we do. But until we need to continue with the education proponent, so if somebody doesn't get in the position where they're addicted, and the treatment's part of the three-prong attack, and we need everybody's help to get involved with that. And please call the police if you do have information or if you have questions.
One thing in conclusion that we actually haven't talked about much, you just happened to mention it briefly right there, alcohol. Is alcohol the problem that it used to be in this area?
It's still there. I mean, it's still there. We talked about going to the schools, and we went into the high school to talk about the drug and alcohol problem. Alcohol is still probably the #1 abused drug in the high school setting.